because you're the host, I'll need your permission there, I think.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Herman Foundation Connect Group's event, Let's Connect. Today, we got the opportunity to connect with Hitika Bhatia. So it's going to be Let's Connect with Hitika Bhatia. So she's a licensed counselor and she has an experience of over 10 years in the healthcare industry. She's leading in mental health care professional and also work for the community as a counselor, as a trainer, as a facilitator. She's doing her master's in psychotherapy and counseling. So we're going to share some questions that we have already received from people in the community about how they are dealing with the lockdown, what's happening with them. So we're going to ask the expert advice here, how to tackle and cope up with this situation. Thanks, Hitika, for joining in. You want to share some few words before? We can't hear you.
Oh, is it better now? Yeah. Okay. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It is really a pleasure to be a part of Herman Foundation and the initiative they've taken. It is amazing. And I'm glad to, more than happy and very honored to share my skills. So I do have my private practice and I practice counseling and therapy. And if you've got any questions, I encourage you to ask them now or even later. Just send me a message through Facebook or whichever media is comfortable for you.
Yeah, feel free to chat in, guys. So I would request you all to be on mute, but you can chat and you can let us know if you have any question. Maybe we already have that formulated in our questions. So we will ask Hitika, and she will also be there in the end to answer any questions. So after we ask some questions. So we have actually started this Let's Connect program based on from this pandemic that's going around. So going forward on every Sunday, we will be inviting people from different sectors. Like today we have Hitika, she's a psychologist, and then we'll be having chiropractor, nutritionist, employment agents, migration lawyers, health professionals, people from different paths who can help and support us to go through this time in ease and also let us know how to cope up with it and how to take care of ourselves completely. So thanks Herman Foundation to give us this platform and to create this platform, for people across that. Sorry, I'm admitting people as well. I don't want people to miss on anything. Okay. So the first question, Hitika, that's very burning nowadays, how to keep things in perspective when there is so much of fear going around. People are living in constant fear of getting affected, losing jobs, relationship issues, mind, work, body, balance. Kids are struggle as well, to be at home. They are beautiful, but when they are home, how the household impact with that. So dealing with them. So how to manage this stress, anxiety, and panic attacks to stay calm and peaceful in this current situation?
Thanks for asking. It is a very common question now because coronavirus has become such a it's taken over your life completely. So the first and foremost thing to remember is that it is a pandemic, however, and it is impacting. But what is it that we can do at our level to stay calm and to deal with the situation in a more calmly manner? Now, obviously what's happening around us, that's hard to control. It is out of our bounds. But what we can do at our level, so the first thing is to obviously calm yourself. When you're calm, when you're focused, when your mind's at not at peace, can't be at peace 100%, but when it's somewhat at peace, somewhat
Sorry, breaking.
See things from a perspective. The things that you can do to keep that focused perspective, that concentration, which will eventually bring calmness, are some of the things that are meditation, mindfulness, that have been encouraged over and over again through many different mediums now. Obviously, there are apps that do guided meditation now that you can't go to yoga studios or gyms. So you can practice some of that at home. Mindfulness, so many people running those mindfulness sessions. One of them is obviously you're doing a wonderful job every Saturday with Herman Foundation Connect. Every Saturday 8 a.m. Pinky does mindfulness sessions, and so you can go online and use that screen time which is, media is also taken over us with a great deal. So you can use that screen time wisely to calm yourself down as well. The other coping mechanism, not coping strategy or mechanism per se, but that should have been implemented before as well. And I would have said the same thing to anyone going through a lot of anxiety and fear, to have some sort of a routine or a disciplined lifestyle. And I don't mean military, I just mean having some sort of a schedule, because when you have that, it makes a lot of difference in your life because you know what's happening. The base of all this fear is having a clouded vision, a blurred vision. We don't know what's next. Hence the fear, hence the panic. But when you know what's next, it's a bit more. You can plan it, you can see it, because you have that clarity. The risk or the chances of having a panic attack or having that anxiety hidden will reduce a great deal. So if you don't know how, your life is a chaos, you've got so much happening, you don't know you may not have a mental health issue, but you're going to get very anxious not knowing how to deal with it. And that's not a mental health issue. It's normal to feel anxious about that. So to calm yourself, start with mindfulness meditation. Have a disciplined life of some. See how you can manage your day. Everyone will have different things to do, mainly at home these days, but we can talk about how we can manage those things. And speak to people around you as much as possible via FaceTime, via video calls, via phone. Connect yourself as much as possible. So that's just one of a few things that we can do out of many possibilities in this pandemic.
That's such a good advice, and you're so right. Sometimes people create the panic, you know. Panic is not that much that we create by engaging our mind so much, getting into the news, listening to people, and here and there. So we create it in our mind. So I think the best practice that you have said is mindfulness and be in the present moment so that you're not affected by future, past. You are in there. That's such a great advice. Thanks for that. Yeah, and also doing a schedule, I definitely think that's a lot of value. And if people can, you know, make a routine as if they are going to work, even if they are working from home or things like that. So I think that's a great advice, so that you are in tune with your routine and then you can do everything in time. Thank you so much for answering that. So another question that's been asked by people is, do you have any strategy to cope up with lockdown, as so many people are struggling with working from home, work-life balance, lack of me time, managing kids, relationship issues, etc.? I think it ties up with the first one, but if you want to add something to it, that'll be great.
Sure. So, as I said about having a disciplined life or a routine of some sort, if and it would imply even if you're living alone or you're living with your family and kids and everybody, it implies to everybody. Make a schedule, stick it on the fridge, stick it somewhere so that everyone can follow it. And so if there are kids in the house, they'll know what they're supposed to do at what time. See, they're kids. Even as adults, we have no idea what we're doing. And we like to be told sometimes, because that again gives us clarity that, oh, okay, I've been told to do this and that's how I'm going to do it. We like it or not, but when we're told, we get some clarity. Kids have absolutely no idea. So and they need to hear it, they need to see it, they need to see the actions happening to be able to comprehend the situation. So it's all the senses that they have to use while growing up to be able to learn and comprehend something. They Going through a pandemic in the house, this is one of the greatest skills they're learning. Kids, that they're learning through being at home, because you're using resources not from outside, whatever's inside your house. So this is a great opportunity to actually create activities, if you can, like let's say a day before, and then put it on the schedule, and that they know what to do. They are controlled, hence you're controlled. So then you know what time you have to manage your activities.
Okay.
uh, in that, so I'm a big fan of having your 3 meals and 2 snacks and some water. So however you want to make your foundation, whether it be a diet that you're basing it on, or whether it be your family's schedule you're basing it on, have a base and then build your schedule around it. Put it for everyone to follow and see. It's possible not everyone will follow dot to dot, but that's okay. Your life was very chaotic before this. So we're streamlining it as much as possible. And whoever can follow whatever amount, that is still better than doing nothing and having a lot of screen time chaos, whether it be. So before this there must be 2 hours allowed to kids to watch TV, and now they're probably seeing TV and iPad and phone and whatnot. So it becomes very chaotic. So having that schedule, writing it down, planning it a day before, that will create a big difference. Yeah, so that's and you're having healthy meals as well. Now that you have the excuse to not go, and it's not an excuse, it's actually a compulsion to stay home. So I'm trying to choose my words, and I'm thinking, oh no, yeah, actually, lockdown is you have to shape your form of speech as well. So there's no excuse of hey, let's go out for dinner, hey, let's go out for this. Now that you are home, try and use this time as much as possible to make healthy meals.
Be creative.
Be creative. And and Easter is coming, so yes, there's the Easter buns and the hot cross buns and Easter eggs, and then there's a lot of that. While there's that, like if this was a non-pandemic environment, Easter and Christmas, we would be not eating a lot of junk food prior to this, because we know we will be in a long weekend and we'll be eating a lot and we'll be planning our meals accordingly. But now that we're home, we're not thinking too much. We're eating whatever is coming across our way. So making sure that it's still home environment can be very, that's
you reminded me of bringing in my gluten-free, sugar-free, and flour-free brownies that I made at home.
Wow.
So you can be creative, guys.
Wow, you can be exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, so many people want to cook because they have the time. So use that time wisely to cook things that will encourage. Cooking creates such a homely environment. Like the vibe's very warm and family kind. It's just it's a great positive vibe. So you can do those things. What you eat and how you go about your day will create a big difference.
That's great. That's a good advice. So we should all create a timetable, and which I have started doing because it was hard to manage the time. But I think when your timetable is done, that okay, between that I'm going to do my HIIT training, between that I'm going to cook, between that I'm going to do my work and take my dog for a walk. I think it's easier to manage anyways, and especially when you have more time, you still have to make a timetable. Otherwise, you won't be able to do any work properly. So that's great advice. Yeah, thank you so much for helping us there. And another question that has come up is, how can we help each other face this situation with resilience than fear or anxiety? So I think it's a question about how to be more resilient in your day-to-day, and not only on this pandemic, but like in your day-to-day. And if you can add some tips in there and how to change the psychology of mind to be more resilient to face anything.
See, I think it goes back to anything basic. When we have a lot of expectations and they're not met, we're crushed. That's one basic thing, pandemic or non-pandemic. That's always been the case. So having that acceptance will create resilience regardless, right? Regardless of a pandemic. So that it is what it is right now. We can do what we can in our power to maintain hygiene, to stay healthy, and leave the next part. That's not for us to worry about. Let's just do whatever is in our power to make that. So that acceptance will create that resilience, because once you've accepted something, then that mine's like having multiple apps open. So if you've accepted that it is what it is for this particular situation and app, you can just swipe it away. and that's not going to bother you anymore. And it will not only create resilience, but it will see, it'll create a lot, it'll give you a lot more strength, and it'll create more time for you to use positively. Because otherwise that time is gone in worrying about things, and in that being riled up in your emotions and things, and you're sitting there, and there's, you think that you're sitting on a couch, but there's 1,000 thoughts happening, and that time's basically, someone will think you're doing nothing, but actually you're doing quite a lot in your head.
Mental work. Yeah.
Mental work.
So we are not in our body, we are normally in our mind space. So
Yeah.
physically not present most of the time. Yeah.
So having that acceptance is one thing. How can you get to that acceptance stage is, I think that it is a great time to reconnect with your relatives, whether it be calling your parents, your grandparents, schedule a time with them, speak to them, visit their old memories, get them to talk, tell you stories, get them to talk about, what was life in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You have now a lot more time in hand to talk, to connect. I mean, if they don't use if they're not very tech friendly grandparents, do a phone call. That's how it was anyway in the olden days. It was just a phone call. And so use that time wisely to revisit those old memories. How was it when I was young, when I was a year old? Tell me more about me. How was it for you when you were 20 years old? How were things? And you know what the surprising part would be, and this is from my grandfather. He didn't have he wasn't too surprised because he's lived in a curfew. So
Yeah. It's a
he
long curfew though, but yeah. Yeah.
so he's like, oh, what's the big deal? It was just a curfew. People were dying through a terror attack and stuff like that. And now it's a virus, a big deal. We know how to get through this. So you might as well get some tips from people who've experienced this, because this is new for a good 80% of the population, but I bet 20% can guide you with how they've dealt with it back in the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So resilience could be, I think, when you visit old happy memories, it creates that happy hormone. And then when you start accepting that it passed for them and it will pass for me, it is what it is now, but we will get through it. That will create that resilience.
Yeah. And also, accepting that this time shall pass as well.
Yeah.
Nothing is permanent here. So this will pass as well, like anything else did. Every curfew has passed, every earthquake has passed, every world war has passed, every time has changed.
Yeah.
That's the nature of time. So when we guys are stuck in the situation, then we are not resilient. But when we accept, like Hitika has said, when acceptance increases, then you are more resilient to face any situation.
Yes, that's true.
Cool. So we have a chat question here. Nice. Listen to their experience and learn from it. That's so beautiful. Yeah, that's a beautiful thought. I think that's received well. And what is your advice to people who are suffering from domestic violence and are facing major issues now because they are locked down with the same person they are having struggle living with? So what are your thoughts and what are your input on how to tackle the situation, especially with these people? How can they deal with it better?
Sure. I think it's rather a serious one, that
Mm-hmm.
one. So the lockdown has impacted them more than anybody. So look, if there are any listeners in that, I would kudos for listening. If you've come this far and if you're listening, that's great. So that the one thing I'll say is, if you do experience anything, if there is any domestic violence that you're experiencing and you are in danger, at that time, just remember, well, there is, first of all, you can call or text police. So just to get yourself out of danger as well. And then secondly, obviously there are restraining orders, then you have the right to talk to the police to not be in that environment. So they can actually help you with community housing or things like that. Because let's say if there's an AVO, which is apprehended violence order, I think AVO is yeah, domestic, sorry, ADVO. If that's put in place, then you're probably they will manage something for you. You probably won't be staying with the same person in that. But
Mhm.
if you are, and those cases aren't reported, and you are going through it, the first and foremost thing is to look out for yourself, call for help, text it, find a moment, text, get help as much as possible. There are ways of texting the police as well. If you download the police app, I I'm probably, I may be wrong, but there is a button you can press as well in there, just to alert them that you may be in some sort of a danger. So there's that. The other thing to remember is, if you are going through, I mean, look, all kinds of domestic violence is obviously not acceptable, but there are people who don't come up and have been going through it for a while. Remember that um, fear and anxiety is the reason why the abusers are the way they are. So they have a lot of fear and anxiety in them. And a fearful situation like a pandemic, if it has created fear in a normal person with absolutely no mental health issues and no psychopathic issues,
Mhm.
then imagine what is it creating for
What
them.
we're going through already, yeah.
So if an abuser is going through this, they
Mhm.
are more likely to respond to this in a more negative way. So if you can see that there is that fear and anxiety building for that person living with you, and you're likely to become that victim again, try and get yourself out before even it. You don't have to wait for it. Try and get yourself out as much as possible. If you've got any relatives or friends you can stay with, then try and go stay with them.
It's
uh,
hard, I think, to go at this time, when we are maintaining social distancing.
mm,
That's why I think the question is coming as well, that when in the social distancing time, when they have to, they forcefully have to live with the same person that they are dealing, or facing issues with. So
yes.
I think sorting that out is.
Is, and see, social distancing is again a good thing, that you can say that you're social distancing with that person too. So here the question will come, you've got to be smart about how you're creating that distance from the abuser. So
Mhm.
as a victim, it is, look, hands down, it is very hard, and it's easier said than done. I can only suggest, but living through it would be a whole different experience,
Yeah.
because when you're in panic, nothing comes to your head.
Mhm.
And if you're fearful that, oh, am I going to get attacked, am I going to be hit, things like that, nothing comes to your head. I agree with that. But as I said, that if you've been a repeat victim, you must be able to see it, that if it's coming your way, see how you can get help. If there's someone you can call, so you can, yes, there are lockdown rules, but there are families and friends you can visit. uh, I think there's blood families that you can visit. So I have to be more clear about those rules, and I will post after this.
Yeah.
I'll get more information.
Yeah.
But if they're your parents or sister or somebody who's blood related, I don't think that that's a problem. You can visit them.
Yeah.
um, as I said, text police if you're feeling that fear. If you're fearful of reporting the incident, then there's Lifeline and Beyond Blue that are available 24 hours by chat, text, um, calls, in any shape or form you imagine. They're available.
And also, guys, like Herman Foundation is there. If you are
Yes.
going through something 24 by 7, 365 days, anytime you are not able to cope up with anything, any situation come up, we are really sorry that you have to go through all this in today's day and time as well. But if you are going through that, pick up a phone, call us, and we will do our best to keep you safe so that you can live in peace and not in fear.
Exactly. Yes. So it is just a matter of informing someone, even via text.
Yeah.
So need help. Let's just even put that. And
That's enough. Like, you need
yeah,
help, that has to be accepted by people. Okay, now we have to do something. How can we help them? So now I think this pandemic has connected us more as well. So
yes,
we
it's
are more connected, more, digitally connected, and we are more concerned about each other and ourselves. So just a little bit
yes,
conscious of time now,
correct.
because there are a lot more questions. So I'm going to go to the next one,
Okay.
which is about businesses who are suffering. So, so many businesses, they are not earning any money because there's no audience, no people are there. And also they have some rules, that they can do only little work and they can't do much. And they're also maintaining social distancing. And also people who have lost their jobs, or they are in the constant fear of losing their jobs down the line. Like, I also know we were told by our company that, maybe down the line you guys might lose job. So, it's kind of, I know they're doing it just to let us know in advance that it can happen based on how strong the situation will be, but how to cope up with that. Because sometimes, even if you don't want, it haunts on your head, and, it tells you that maybe you won't get this job, or maybe you won't be in this job. So what are your thoughts about it?
The first thing I'll say is it is definitely a big fear. Um, Everyone, including me, we are all going through it. The first thing to remember is it's not just the country going in recession; it's the whole world collectively. So initially, when we used to have recession, it would be nationwide, but now we as a globe are in recession. So that's one thing to remember. The second thing to remember is that if we have Australian listeners, we are actually in quite a good country. We will be provided help, so it will never really come down to not having bread and butter for us, because we've got the government, thankfully, still in a way that will be supporting us. So there is help. See what category you fall in, if you do come into that situation, and prepare yourself. Speak to financial planners and speak to the right person. So if you've got an accountant, if you've got some financial planners, if not, you can seek financial planners, and their consultations at this stage are free as well. So they're trying to do the best they can. I know in Herman Foundation Connect, there are a few that if there's an issue that you feel that you might come into that scenario, and how do I pay my mortgage? How do I pay the rent? What's going to happen? They will put it all together for you and create a scenario for you that you're not going into debt. So they might be able to speak to the banks, they might be able to speak to the owners, create some sort of a financial plan for you. So if you're fearful, have a solution focused approach to this so that you're prepared. And when you start preparing, that again, it gives you clarity, and it gives you a plan A, it gives you a plan B, and so that fear would come down, because hey, you know what, if I do lose my job, it's okay, we'll manage it this way. And if plan A doesn't work, it's all right, we still have a backup plan to back up plan A. So it would be that clarity. So I would, if you are very sure of your jobs too, that's fine. Still, I think this is the best time to create a plan for yourself and for your family, just to be sure, because you don't know what, you may have a job, but you still don't know what the banks are going to do 3 or 4 months later. Would they have the money to survive or take away interests and things like that? So it's best to get financial advice right now, just to have that clarity. You can panic about it as much as you like, but that's really not going to get you anywhere if you're not having a plan. And once you have that plan, the panic automatically would reduce to like it would a great deal be reduced anyway.
Yeah, I think it's a good way. Even if you have a job, even if you are fearful that I might not have a job, I'll lose a job, so you have a plan in action. So there are only two situations that's going to happen. Either you have it or you don't have it. If you have it, this is the plan. If you don't have it, this is the plan. And then, the fear is not there. Then it's a conscious action and you can work on it.
Exactly. And in the meantime, if you're working on the plan, that's still overcoming your fear.
Yeah.
You're not just sitting about it and panicking about it and thinking about all these random thoughts. You're actually working on something more productive.
A productive thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and sorry?
Hi, this is Gaurav. I just really wanted to add something on that point, please. Just my views. I think government always keeps some surplus budget. So one is a short-term issue, and then one is a long-term issue. So short-term issue, I would say, is the pandemic. For example, it may last 1, 2, 3, 4 months, and obviously there could be job cuts and issues out there. But if ever we feel that we're going in recession, I think Australia has got some very strong save the country going into the recession. For example, I don't remember the year. I think one of the prime ministers started issuing, I think, $900 check to every citizen about, I think, 8, 9 years ago.
Yeah, it was in 2008. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, it was in 2008 when there was a global recession, share markets dropped down. Yeah,
Uh,
everyone received 900. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So see, what that did was it wasn't just a $900 checkout to every person. We were asked to go and spend the money. So what happens is when you spend the money, you buy TVs, you buy other stuff, it boosts the economy. So short-term pandemic, unfortunately, the only, like you guys mentioned, the only way to survive is to have a plan. But long-term, I don't think we should be overly worried about getting into a recession because Australia has some really strong reserves. The ministers are trying their best to work out a way to ensure we don't get into it. So we're actually in a very good nation to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just wanted to throw in my 2 cents
Yes,
with it.
thanks, Gaurav. To add in that, so short-term, long-term plan, and very long-term plan, you are in a safe country. So you
Yes,
will be safe and very secure in this country. Don't worry about it. Lose your fear, drop your fears just today. So you'll
yes,
be taken care of. Just
yes.
take conscious actions. That's it. That's all we need. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
would
you know
take
how
his
they
word.
say, do
I,
your best and leave the rest.
yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. So we
Right.
need all these positive people right around.
Really?
I would take his word very seriously because he does work in the government.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, great. So that's a validation as well. So we have people from different places and they are adding in the validations in for us. Nothing to worry. Work on it. That's it. Just work on your plans. That's it.
Really. All right.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Gaurav. And another question that I want to add is about the digital media exposure. As you know, we are home. And when we are home, we are either, looking at our phones or we are just looking at television, big screens. We are on our laptops. We are doing Zumba classes online. We are doing Bhangra classes online. We are doing mindfulness online, yoga online, everything. We are on the digital touch 24 by 7. Like not 24 by 7 when we sleep, we don't have that, but apart from that, all the time we are connected with digital vibrations and that frequencies. So it might affect people, especially the kids. They have more time now. They can play their games for 8 hours, 10 hours, which can impact their eyes, and aged people as well. And for people like who are working, they are using more of technology. So what is your concern, long term concern about it, that if we are not of people now, so we are in social distancing, but already we are addicted to technology. If we become like, it can be a substance addiction, like technology addiction, like that harmful. So can you add 2 cents on that?
I think so. My approach is a bit different on that. I think when we come out of this pandemic, we will have a lot less screen time, because we were on the screen so much now that when we'll have people exposure, I have a feeling, this is my prediction, we wouldn't really be using phones
That's
or
so good.
anything
Yeah,
because we'll be excited
people
to
will be like, don't worry about phone, let me talk to the person, I found a person today.
yes. So I think this might come out as a blessing in disguise.
Cool.
But while we're in it, I think, as I said, when you have a schedule for screen time for yourself and for your kids. I think need to schedule screen time for parents more than kids, because parents, since Facebook and WhatsApp started,
Mhm.
they have gone astray. I mean, I speak from personal experience too. So they they use a lot more phones now than they did, and the kids would be copying that. So you have to first limit yourself, and put some screen time. Look, there's because how do you define that you're working now on your laptop, and or you're answering a work text message and 2 seconds later you're scrolling? So it's very hard to control what you're doing, what you're
Yeah, because
right.
you tend to check your WhatsApp, your Facebook, same time your LinkedIn, and then you are checking a message and you are so intrigued, you touch your phone for 1 minute, and when you get out of it, it's like 1 hour, and
Exactly.
now more time. So
Yeah. So look, if you're working
limitations.
from home, if you're in that 9 to 5 still, great. Make sure you're within the 9 to 5, and then your activities. Look, obviously, use that screen time. You can't get away with it, but I'd rather you use that screen time more productively. So you mentioned Zumba classes and dance classes online. Do it that way, because at least you're burning your energy,
Yeah.
right? So there's that balance of, as long as your eyes are having a blood flow, happening. That's still better than just scrolling and scrolling for, I don't know, if you count the kilometers, you might have reached Europe by now. So it do that wisely. Again, start using the time that you have leisure time. Now so you used to have 2 hours with kids before. You would allow them, that's okay, you can use your iPad for 2 hours, or you can play games for 2 hours
You can
online.
still do the same.
Yeah. But now let's switch that, because they're learning, their schools are now home, so they're having a lot more screen time. Okay, you can't do anything at that time because you're working from home. So let's allocate 2 hours to activities in your backyard or home. So use games, use home exercises, all things like jumping ropes, and things that there were a lot of things people used to do for activities back when they
Or
were.
get them involved in gardening and things like that. They will be more in tune with the nature. Or
Yes.
some other games, family games that
Yeah.
you can.
So 2 hours, everything is shut. There's no phone, no TV, nothing happening, and those 2 hours are actually used now off screen time. So
Yeah,
you're scheduling that. Yeah. And try
really, really
and
good.
make those 2 hours not to talk about COVID, because there's enough talk about it during the day. So COVID's taken over quite a lot. Like, I mean, it is definitely a pandemic, but then as you mentioned earlier, it's just like another disease that had, like, there's still 70,000 people dying of homelessness or different diseases of
Every day,
blood pressure.
people are dying of diabetes every day, blood pressure every day,
So yeah,
because those were highlighted. And definitely this is a matter of concern,
yeah,
but we should limit talking about it because our focus is all there.
yeah.
Let's do
It's
some,
other diseases too, right? I mean, it's not like if it's COVID, then we're only seeing COVID patients in the hospital. There's still people coming with brain hemorrhages and back pains and knee problems. So those things still exist. And I'd really encourage you to actually talk about other pains too, because they have somehow subsided. They're not being talked about. This is being talked about and is constantly creating fear that's not there. So, when people had my grandma, for example, lived 3 or 4 months with, absurd knee pain. And she lived in it, and she didn't have any anxiety or fear with it. That was just pain. But now, if you put COVID on top of it, all that knee pain and none of that,
it should be
it's
corrected.
fear that's created by it. And now there's also knee pain.
I
So,
know.
so that's just one of the examples that if you go back and focus on things um, that are non-COVID, that will help it as well. And the best thing is to put your phones off, put everything off, and focus on uh, things that are off screen,
Yeah.
games, activities, anything. Like even sitting down, maybe sit in your backyard, sit in the lounge, sit in the balcony, have a cup of tea.
Yeah, dinner together. It's a good time to have dinner together with the family. Now this is time when we have that. You can sing songs together, play board games as you've mentioned, and
Educational games to help keep up, like
yeah.
Sudoku. I always
Sudoku, yeah.
saying that, or things like those games like that. So that will still keep your mind busy, active still, because sort of become a bum in the house if you keep sitting in the one spot.
Yeah, that's really good feedback and suggestions that you have added, because I know we are facing COVID, but we might, when we are out of it, we might create another illness, which is mental health, in our society, because we are on digital, we are not communicating with people. So COVID might, we might find a vaccination, it's all gone, but another issue might come up, which is mental health issue, right? After all this will go. So I think it's good time to take care of your mental health now than later, so that you're not affected by it, when it comes. When COVID is gone, you are out of it in a very sane way, and you are taking care of yourself while it is on. You should know what is going around you, but you should not be overly engaged after every 10 minutes looking at the stats. It's not going to add, to that much, but be aware of what's happening around, which is very important to know. But do as Hitika has mentioned, spend time with family, spend time with your friends, talk to your grandparents, make a timetable, schedule your life better, do things that you were not able to do before. A lot of things that you can do. Help the community. Join Herman Foundation will give you a lot of work. You won't be, be free, and you will have time for all these things for wider community as well, wider family. Yeah. Cool.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
another question, the last question that I've got here is about the social connectedness. So we are sparing each other. We are not talking like we are digitally connected, but socially, it's very important to have a human with you that you can talk, communicate, share vibes, you can feel the touch, and that's not happening nowadays. And it's like, you are in the jail. I've been talking to a few of my friends. They are like family of four, but still they feel that they are in jail. It's like they said that meeting people is as much as important as we are eating our food. So it's equally important. So I'm just concerned what, like, when we are walling people off from each other, and if this will happen for next few months or a quarter, so it might create a strong mental health issue in our minds. We might be very in ourselves and we'll lose that contact. I don't know, I'm just saying. But if we practice something for longer time, like a quarter or so, I think then we are used to it. We change the old patterns, we make the new patterns, and we also, the effect is also very bad of it. So what do you think on a widespread global way, what these challenges will bring about in the mental health?
Look, as I've always been told by my parents growing up, that humans are social animals.
Hmm.
So we live on social life quite a lot. And now that it's taken away from us, we don't feel good. The other thing is that we always wanted to have family time, quality time, but now that it's being forced upon us, it's not our choice. We always wanted to have that with our choice. So something that is imposed on us, we don't appreciate it. um, so the first thing would be to switch that mindset. Yes, it's been imposed on us and we've been forced in a lockdown, but you're never going to get this time again.
Hmm.
Hopefully, I mean, this is probably the last pandemic we face. But look, it's unlikely that you'll have something like this again.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that when this will be over, you will miss people who you were living with a lot more, because you'll be so used to seeing them 24 hours a day that now that you're not seeing them, that will have its own withdrawal effects. So now that you have the time with each other, appreciate that, switch that mindset to, or I'm in a jail because, okay, yes, it is a jail, let's call it a jail, but at least you're having that what you always asked for and you never had it. So parent, like, especially for kids, now that they were so interactive, they would go out, there was so much social life that was happening for them, and now they're with their parents, and look, you're probably never going to get time again with your parents.
Yes.
Such a quality and close time, and your coping mechanism with parents would be another level of it. So that is for kids. For parents, you always wanted kids with you. You always wanted the quality time with kids, and now that you have it, see how you can work out to make it a better time for yourself. So if you switch that thinking to a more positive one, that this is for a very small amount of time that I get to see my family 24/7 with me, it might be a different approach. It might not feel like jail. It might not feel like that I'm stuck here and I can't go out. And as for the social life, let's just say, like, when you come out of it, you'll have plenty chances to go out, to meet people, to interact as much as possible. You can surely do that then when you're in that moment. But going back to that mindfulness, if we practice that, we're in the present moment with our loved ones locked together. I mean, would you rather be locked with somebody else that you didn't like? So so now that you are there, for majority of us, we are with people who we love to be with. So you'll either fight and resolve it quickly, or it'll be either or, really black and white situation.
Yeah.
But see, enjoy your time, have this quality time together, because it's unlikely that this will ever happen again. In the unfortunate circumstance ever again, if it happens, I'm sure that the governments will be well prepared, and it
Yeah.
again wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
So I see it as a once in a lifetime opportunity to spend such quality time with your family, with your loved ones, and take this opportunity to do things that you have been planning for so long. You don't necessarily have to have a Europe trip with your family to enjoy. The fact is, the few of you are together.
Yeah.
See how you can cherish that. See how you can make the best of it. And it wouldn't feel like jail then. It would feel like a blessing then.
That's so beautiful. It's like appreciating every moment. So
Yes.
whichever moment you are in, if you start appreciating that, then I think everything can tie together. But we just spoke about, like, in the last 45 minutes,
Yeah.
that even appreciate if it's good, appreciate if it's bad, whatever is there is there. We are making actions toward it, and it will change.
Hmm.
That's what, where resilience come up
Yeah.
from. Then you're more resilient when you start appreciating and accepting everything that happens in your life. But my one personal question I would like to ask you, Hitika, that does mind love change? Because we always wanted, if we think about before, right? You've been doing studying, so I'm very curious to know this. So before we were like, I wish I can work from home once a week. I wish today I can work from home. But we have been given, I think all our voices have been heard by the universe, and everyone has got ample time to work from home. And we're like, oh my God, we are in the prison. And I can bet on it. When we'll start going to work, we'll be like, oh my God, that time was so good. We were in our home, and we were working like this. So is mind never happy, or we never happy? So what's the gap there? So can you tell something about it?
The grass is greener on the other side. Always. It's always greener on the other side. So, see, it's person to person. If you are that person who has accepted that moment and you're living in the moment and you're a person who lives in the present, then yes, whether it be working from home or from office, you're always going to be appreciative. But if you're generally a person, and that accounts for 99% of human beings, including me, that if you're always wanting things that you don't have, then you're just trying to skip that present moment and trying to jump to the next one, and then when you're in the next moment, again jumping further. So you're always just constantly jumping from one moment to another and not really living anything.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a very common human trait. To answer your question, grass will always be greener on the other side. But you see, when I'm lucky to be in this environment, to most of us on Zoom right now, I guarantee we'll have a home, we'll have food. So our basics are covered. We have food, shelter, people who care for us, jobs, most likely, or you that still you still have a lot of shelter around you. You're not in that poverty scenario where, looking at countries like India, for example, those people who are on the streets and have homes on the street have a completely different take on life. Or Italy's gone to another level of things.
Yeah.
They had home and shelter and everything.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to be in this scenario right now. As long as we're if we're safe, that's one thing to look at. So yes, I know that when you'll actually start going to work, you'll miss this, and it's very normal to miss work because you had that. And
Yeah.
so it's just a
Keep
normal
on jumping
natural
from one wish list to another. I think we are programmed that way. When we were kids, we were told that, oh, this class, when you'll go there after 10th, your studies are gonna be okay. Okay, after +2, or your higher education, then okay, after you do this will happen. No, after you get married, after you have kids, after you buy the house. I think we are in a regular chain of programming our mind so much
very
that
well.
it's an autopilot now. And it's like it's always, wherever it is, it's not there. It always want to jump into the next thing. When it is on the next thing, it want to jump into the previous or the future thing. So it keeps on tossing like a monkey.
It does. But I'm so glad that we can have this chat for people who are listening, or who are trying to have who are at least striving to be in the moment. Yeah, so at least we have some sort of awareness for that, so that we can make our current lives more peaceful. And see, this is just another situation. So you could be 6 months down the line, there could be another situation, and you would then
Yeah.
be in the same riling wiling mindset again.
Hmm.
So it's just I see this pandemic, it is definitely big and huge, but it is just another situation that will pass. And the more you're accepting of it, be better, and see if you can find some blessing in disguise moments.
That's
So
fine.
it wouldn't look too bad then.
Yeah. So I think the key lies in accepting it as it is. Don't keep your mind in listening to the media 24 by 7. Don't just open your phone to look about the coronavirus like all the time. Look at the news in the morning, then maybe around midday, I don't know, maybe a couple of times a day. Be aware of what's happening around. Take care of your hygiene, take care of your food, take care of your mental health. Don't get into the trap of your mind, going from one thing to another. Enjoy this time that's been given to you. It's kind of a pause which has been added in your life to reflect back, or to think in this moment, or to think about what you have to do in future. A little bit planning, it's a good time. You can create your own timetables, spend time with family, relatives. So many good ideas have been given by Hitika today, and that we can use in our day to day and learn something from there. I would encourage you all, we have few minutes. If you have any questions that you would like to ask Hitika online just now, or if you have any question that will come up in your mind maybe during the day, you can post on Harman Foundation Connect group, and we will connect you to Hitika again, and she will be there with us, maybe another session, or maybe with panel of guests, other people around, and we can ask her more questions, and we'll throw more questions from all the levels, all the spheres of life that are hot topics now. So feel free, we'll wait for a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, you can write it. But I hope you enjoy this show that we have broadcasted, or I would say online, digitally. We are starting to getting digital now. So another medium of connecting with everyone together. And let us know if you want to hear more of any other topic, any other thing. So I know mental health is there, but our physical health is there. If you want to hear about chiropractor, acupuncture, anyone you want, we have a team of many good people along with us who have tied hands with us, Harman Foundation. And there will be many people who will be happy to be on board. You don't have to go anywhere. Sit in front of your computer, just tune into Zoom or any other medium that we will engage you to. Ask questions. We will have people who will answer your questions, and your problems will be solved staying at home, and you'll be engaged in all the genuine topics that you need information on. So let us know how you like about it, and if you have any questions, suggestions, feedback. And there's one question, sorry. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge, ladies. I really enjoyed this session. Thanks, Sandy. What activities do you suggest for people during Easter break? We will get on to it, Kritika. What is the name of your foundation, Pinky? It's Harman Foundation. You can go online, be a volunteer. If you have ample time, we can give you a lot of work. You can help community. So you can open your heart to whole community. We are working 24 by 7. Our phone lines are on. There are people who are connected with us 24 by 7. Trust me, they are sleeping. Definitely, they are taking care of their health, but they are with us all the time. So people who are dealing with domestic violence, who don't have food, right now we have created food hampers for them. We have also got Langar for Hunger. So people who don't have food with them, we give them that. Domestic violence victims, they get mental, emotional support from us 24 by 7. And we have a house support as well. If people don't have house, we give them that for certain amount of time, till the time government doesn't make arrangements for them. Many other activities. You can go online, call us, tell your friends, spread the word. It's only for community. The main aim is to work for the community. So somebody is there who is there to give their shoulder to you anytime you are in pain. So we hear your pain, we hear you. And any advice for people with low immunity? We will definitely bring in people, because few of my other friends also ask this question a lot of time. And Hitika, you are in medical this field. If you have somebody whom we can engage, but we might engage some people, definitely we'll put that into there.
Yep. So there's with immunity at this point in time, please do seek home remedies as well. So there's a lot of naturopaths that are around that will guide you very well. And if you have a serious condition that is tagged along with any other condition of yours, so immunologists are one specialist that are actually very rarely known, but that's a specialty. A lot of people didn't know immunologists existed only up until now.
Even I don't know. I've got a lot of friends who are dealing with that, and we will definitely bring in some naturopaths, some plant-based dietitians, and some other things. Good ideas. Let us know, and we will cover every topic. Knowledge will be there for you to take on. We'll have specialists and all good people. So thank you all for being there for 1 hour. It's a lot of commitment of your time, and I hope you enjoy this today. And I hope to see you all in future programs as well. So this program is called Let's Connect. So we'll see we are going to connect with whom next week, but we will definitely connect with someone. We will keep posted on Facebook. You can join our Harman Foundation Connect group, and you can get all this information every day from there. Thank you so much. Thanks all. I'm going to end the session. And the session, Hitika, you have given your ample time today from your busy schedule. I know whenever I used to call you, you are in the hospital, you are not at home. I know you have to go. You have got some limitations. Salute to people like you and other medical practitioners, who are still dedicating their time for the public. So you can finish it up. I really, from bottom of my heart, respect people in medical profession and respect you for all your time. You can finish this conversation, but it's bye for me now.
Thank you.
Saying bye to you.
Thank you, Pinky. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it's always good to talk to you, but great to have this session.
Yeah, together.
Yeah. So guys, if anybody felt any triggers from this session or in general, or going through a lot but you can't talk on social media or on a public platform, please message me separately. I am doing free counseling sessions as well, so let me know if I could be of any assistance in any shape or form for your mental health issues. And for anyone who's shared and today or will be sharing, kudos to you guys. It's a brave step. I know it's hard to share on a public platform, and if you've taken the courage to do so, I greatly appreciate that, and applauds to you, really. Thanks for that. So thank you, everyone, and I hope to see you all again, and any questions, I'm here for you.
Thank you so much. Ciao. See you all soon next Sunday in Let's Connect with another person to share their wealth of knowledge with us. Thank you.
3 o'clock.
Okay, bye.
3 o'clock. Thanks.
Bye-bye.